ready to get this show on the road.
The catchphrase of all catchphrases.
Segment we have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is putting his 4 title rings and other memorabilia up for auction. Hopefully he don't get busted like OJ for doing that. To a charity event. I mean, we literally traded the unicorn out for some picks, which is a gamble, which I think we, in time will tell if that will work out or not. It's basically like going to Vegas, you're gambling, and you know when you go to Vegas, it's either you coming home rich or you coming home with no clothes on. And that's what the Knicks is doing. They know they either coming back rich with KD and Kyrie through free agency 2019, or they're going to be the laughing stock of the league in sports history. I'm not going to sit here and lie to the American people because I'm a native New Yorker. I am a native Brooklyn guy. Trevor Lawrence is a true freshman. All right, he's a true freshman, and I'm letting you know right now, he's the best quarterback prospect I've ever seen. And I'm not a prisoner of the moment type of dude, ladies and gentlemen. We live in this generation where, somebody get hot and, he's the best thing that was ever made.
The GOAT, the greatest of all time, the GOAT is Michael Jordan. He's the greatest to ever string up a pair of sneakers. You know what I'm saying? He got the championship 6 for 6. The scoring. I mean, everything. I mean, LeBron James is the best in this era. But if you pass gas in this era, it's a foul.
Like I said, those guys went to the Eastern Conference without him. He came back. They should have did further with it. But there's a lot of bickering back and forth, and then he got frustrated. But my thing is this: if he go back to Brooklyn, he's going to learn from what happened in Boston, and he's going to do well. He's going to make the effort to be a better teammate, a better leader, because he just left Boston. He saw how that went. He's not going to do the same thing in Brooklyn.
I would hope not. I mean, I just saw a video today my friend sent me of actual Kyrie calling a unknown radio station. It's not one of your ESPN First Takes. It's a very unknown radio station, but they have a little following. He called them up as a fan, pretending to be a fan, speaking on the behalf of Kyrie Irving. Well, I think Boston didn't know what they had when they had Kyrie. That was actually Kyrie talking. Wow. He pretended to be another person.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I don't see it. A guy like that, that's why I'm like, how would he make it in New York? But live from the S Street Media headquarters in Queens, New York, brings you another episode of The Real Leel Show, where I give my unique takes on the latest news going on in the world of sports and pop culture. This week we have a brand new special guest, the 2 co-hosts of the 6-time award-winning sports show known as Will Fans Will Talk in the building. How's it going, y'all?
Yeah. What's going on? We here. We ready to get going, man.
Me too. And just to let y'all know, I know on the Real Leel Show, I pack like 1,000 topics in one show. People that know me, I like to get down to the nitty gritty. And then on this episode, I will be breaking down free agency that will be starting this Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, at 6:00. I know if y'all a sports fan, NBA in particular, y'all been waiting for this moment for the whole year. But first, I want to get into some questions about, the show, Will Fans Will Talk, and the come up. Did y'all know each other prior to starting the show up?
No,
not at all.
Because we actually started. It was actually another name. It was actually called Philly New York Sports, and it was on an internet radio show. And it was actually myself and a couple other cats. And then we moved to New Rochelle to an AM station. Then we came back to Blog Talk, and then it was just like, we kind of tired of the radio. Let's just do the TV thing. And then we jumped on the TV, and then that's when we signed Eric like KD. His first round draft pick, and we've just been rocking and rolling ever since.
Yeah, that's kind of how it happened. I mean, Tripp was already doing his own thing, and they already had momentum going. And in my previous position, actually, I was doing some community relations. And I saw what they had going on. I was like, yo, screw what I'm talking about for work. Like, I'm trying to get on the show, man. Like, what's up? And, submitted some work. He was digging it. And then next thing you know, we was the Splash Brothers. That's what it turned into.
That's kind of how you got your seat on the couch, too, the last couple of weeks. Because Eric started blogging first. And then we was like, yo, you want to come on the live show one day? He was like, hell yeah. So he came, and
Right.
he was like, all right, now you just got to keep coming back now.
I'm not even gonna hold you. That TV is a different animal compared to the radio station. I'm not even gonna lie. I gotta get used to that TV joint. Because when I'm in a radio station, like to me, it's more like simple. I get to do my thing in the booth. Yeah, I know I got listeners, but they not there. So you just do your little own thing. I got a small booth up at Cortland where I do my radio shows at college, and I just be sitting there just putting down that heat. You know what I'm saying? But when you on TV, it's just like, damn, like how long did it take y'all to get used to that experience being on the TV?
I mean, it's kind of repetitive, so I'm like, it didn't really bother me. Like I always say, because I direct and stuff outside of the sports show. So I always say, like, I hate being in front of the camera. I really don't care about that. I just want to get my check, and I don't care about nothing else. But since it's sports, I love sports. I'm like, all right, bet, let's just do it. But it's not really hard. The only difference is from when we was on radio and being on the live show is that you can't have your notepad with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So y'all had a lot of achievements as well. We all know about the awards. Well, y'all did something with Hot 97. Was it like a competition or something I seen?
Yeah.
Well, we did. We were on Hot 97 actually with the Hip Hop Gamer. He had interviewed us after our 2K tournament. So that's like our big charity event. We do one big charity event every year. And we was doing bowling at first, but then we wanted to change it up. So we started doing a 2K tournament. And we did it the first year, and one of the cats from the Barclays Center, shout out to Joe's, he hit us up, was like, yo, would y'all want to do the finals over at the Barclays Center? So we like, hell yeah, we want to do the finals at the Barclays Center, And then that's, we about to go on our third year now. And we had actually last year, it was so packed in there that this year we can't even get the boardroom anymore. So they're going to have us on the Nets practice court. Gotcha. So it's going to be a little bit different this year, but it's still going to be the same fire. And we got a whole bunch of new surprises coming.
Right. The word is out. We kind of like a big deal now. It's kind of starting to take off a little bit. But like Tripp said, a lot of this is Tripp's vision, man. And I give him a lot of credit because he kind of already knew, like, yo, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to get going. And the first 2K tournament was a really good success. And that was just happening within a bar setting. That wasn't even like really like to the masses yet. So to see like us that first year doing it at the Barclays and literally having to go set up PlayStations and set everything up on our own to now knowing like we're going to be at the Barclays Center with a big audience during a Nets game. The response has been crazy on that too.
Wow, and you talk about the Splash Brothers. Y'all like Golden State. You got on Golden State colors already, so you really representing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another thing that I want to get into is, you talk about the super team that y'all have. Y'all also have Emerald Marie TV, who's actually been blowing up lately. She's been co-hosting with y'all, right? She's like one of the reporters.
Absolutely.
So how do you feel about that, having somebody that you work with actually starting to get a lot of attention right now?
I mean, it only helps us,
Right.
Which is crazy, and most because, like, a lot of times I don't even really talk about the stuff that I do outside of the sports show. Like, that because you see us on the actual sports show. But, I'm the one who actually shot all of the footage of Emerald going viral with Halle Berry. So a lot of people didn't even know that. And, like, couple of my people saw the pictures. And then when it happened, that moment happened, they hit me up like, yo, didn't I see you post these pictures a couple of days ago? So, it's like, yeah, but anytime you go viral, that can only help. You know what I'm saying? So, and we love Emerald. She's dope. It's you kind of gotta have that little female presence to kind of balance us out on the show.
Right.
So it's just an amazing thing. Big shout out to Emerald. She's doing some great stuff. And that's the home team though. So
it's crazy with Emerald because I remember when we first had them on, like Tripp mentioned, he had did the photo shoot with Ball of Beauties and another show that Emerald was on and stuff. And Emerald kind of like, she was a student of the game. She really wanted to learn. She wanted to like get comfortable on camera, like you mentioned. Yeah. Because she had some experience, but she wasn't doing it like consistently on camera. And like her hunger, her desire, her hustle to get it, she just kept showing up. And then like she brought really good content to the table too. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just here and I'm just a body. Like, no, it's like, nah, I'm dope. I can bring content and bring creativity to the show. And then it just started taking off from that point. Yeah. And she's been a huge addition to the show, realistically. Like, not just on air, but off air. Like, topics we talk about off air. Like, what should we get into this week and what you guys think it is? There was one week where I wasn't able to make the show. and she went on a really good, for lack of a better word, a rant about Roger Goodell. But it was dope because it was informative, and it was, you know, there was a lot to that content. So she brings a different element to the game as well.
So all right, so when it's all said and done, where do you want this show to be at in the next 5 to 10 years?
So here's the thing. Like, yeah, you know, it'll be dope to be on ESPN or, you know, Fox Sports or whatever, any sports channel, to take it to a network. But, you know, just the way my mentality is set up and where I'm from, man, just cut the check. We can stay right where we at if the checks is coming in. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's great, but I'm just the type of person, like, I don't care about none of that fame. I just want to make sure my bills is paid, my family is good. I can take a couple of trips every year, and I can go shopping when I want, and I'm good.
Facts, and I can shop on Black Friday too.
Right.
That's a fact.
I think I think everybody's, you know, main goal when you first start talking sports and trying to get into sports journalism is to be on that ESPN type level.
Yeah.
But what Tripp is saying is true. Like, we do so many great things outside the studio, charity events and our own 2K tournament and Balling for Peace and Anthony Mason Jr.'s Family on 3 Foundation. Like, all those things are so dope that I like the fact that we have that freedom to kind of pick and choose what we want to be a part of.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's dictating, like, you have to go do this. It's like, nah, we don't really mess with that. We don't bang with that, so we don't want to do that. We're going to go over here because this is our family, this is our people over here. And I like that, man. And, you know, if we can keep that rolling without somebody getting in the way of the creative process, that'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I know you filmed something with Big Gene, right? You filmed the 3-part series last year, right? Last summer, the War Deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, being up front and hearing, you know, Big Gene talk about Biggie, right? Being so close to the memories that he shared with Biggie. The fact that Biggie got a new street in Brooklyn, I believe it's called Notorious B.I.G. Wildest Way. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you think Big Gene felt about that?
I mean,
if you ever talked to him.
Well, I'm from Brooklyn, so, you know, and I'm like up the block from Big. I don't know if I should say this right now, but my step-pops, he used to cop from the same connects as Big back when he was doing his thing out there, you know, so I love that. And, you know, Brooklyn is my heart, so I love it. And I know Gene loves it because Gene had a lot of love for Big, you know, if you sit down and have a conversation with Gene about Big, you know that he loved that man dearly, like true to the heart. And Big had a lot of respect for Gene. I think one of the his famous lines when they were at the I think it was the Soul Train Awards, and Gene had the suit on, the glasses and everything, and he's like, "You look like you from Brooklyn."
Oh yeah, I remember he said something like that. Yeah,
yeah. So I know Gene is real happy about that, man, and it's well deserved, man. That's the king of Brooklyn right there, for real. Rest in peace.
Most definitely. To me, the most influential rapper in Brooklyn. I mean, you could argue Jay-Z, but I say Big. I don't know what y'all think it is.
I mean, you can't go wrong either way.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer, you know what I'm saying? But I think the safe answer is Big for what he did first in the foundation and the ground he laid first.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Jay carried the torch. He did what he was supposed to do.
Right.
Exactly.
Trying that sun up, man. Yeah. Trying to calm down, got you know. I just can't sometimes. Feel like I'm Pablo, feel like Escobar. Feel like a Chapo, if they went too far. Feel like a Tony, my friends let me scar. Let me win no part, let me win no part. Feel like I'm Pablo, feel like Escobar. Feel like a Chapo, wish they went too far. Feel like I'm Tony, my friends let me scar. Let me win no heart, let me win no heart, let me win no heart. I just play my part. Told me not to come in your yard, but your dog at the bar. Lose situation in the pool with sharks. I'm plugged in, now I can turn my pain into art. Young static shot, I give you bitches far. Put that bag over your face, now you're in the dark. Renovate the hotel in the pen now. I want the ransom, you come late, we chopping skin off. Don't pull up to the yoke, bring my cash, no window. Yeah, I've been the GOAT, bitch, I was born in December. Remember we were kings, we had expensive things. Over those ass hood dreams, damn. Feel like I'm Pablo, feel like Escobar. Feel like a job.
ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some sports topics right here. I want to get into some free agency predictions. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna do things a little different here. I'm gonna give my list one by one. The names who's gonna be free agents, top 1 and top 2, top tier, top 1 tier and top 2 tier free agents. And I want to know if y'all agree on what I say where he's going and why or not. If you disagree. So I'm gonna start off with Kyrie Irving over here, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, things wasn't smooth sailing in Boston at all, and quite frankly, things were sinking like the Titanic. You know, he didn't work with the young cats in Boston. All signs show that he will be leaving Boston and going to Brooklyn. So I believe he will go to Brooklyn. And if I'm Brooklyn, I personally like what D'Lo, is bringing so far. I think he improved tremendously last year. Obviously, when Karis LeVert went down, that's when we saw the real emergence of D'Lo.
Right.
And I think that, I think Kyrie will go there, but I just want to make that move. Unless KD comes along. If Kyrie can bring his buddy along with him, then sure, come to the party.
Well, you may actually get your wish because the Nets put out a qualifying offer to D'Angelo Russell earlier today.
Yeah.
And again, I know we spoke about this on Thursday. I would love Kyrie and KD to come there, but if that's not the case, D'Angelo Russell had an amazing year.
Yes, sir.
This past season. He completely changed the narrative on who he is, both on and off the court. And he's 23 years old. So you're talking about somebody that you can get a good 10 to 12 years out of, and he's only going to get better, as he continues to, because he's not even in his prime yet. So he's only going to get better.
Exactly. What you think?
So I agree. I thought from day one the Nets should have focused on keeping D'Lo and then trying to build around that young nucleus of guys. With the news that broke earlier, and actually not too much earlier because it was on our way here, the Nets made the qualifying offer to Russell. And I think with the timing of that, the fact that we're really 2.5 days away from the start of free agency, is them basically saying we don't think we're going to bring Kyrie and KD here. So let's make the qualifying offer now. Mm-hmm. Let's keep him intact, and then let's kind of turn our attention to someone else. Because I think it's a little late in the game. Even though free agency doesn't start till Sunday evening, it's a little late in the game to think we're going to work a sign and trade with D'Angelo Russell. Yeah. At this point, he already knows where he could have gone. He doesn't need you to trade him anywhere. He has, Minnesota was on the radar. Phoenix has been on the radar.
The Lakers.
Right, Lakers. All those teams could sign him outright. They don't need to sign and trade for him. So if the Nets are bringing him back on that qualifying offer, that's because they feel they're out on Kyrie and KD. Yeah. And I think D'Angelo is going to go there, and then now the intrigue becomes, what does Kyrie do?
And that's what I want to get into right now. Now with that news being broke today, where do you think Kyrie Irving ends up?
It's rough because
you want to say it or?
All right, he probably winds up playing for the Lakers. I mean, I'm not mad at that. You know what I'm saying? But all right, you know what? I'll take it because I think that either way in LA, I'm a LeBron guy. So either way, I think that's a hell of a big three, and I think they could go on a nice little championship run as well. May not have been my first pick. I think. I mean, and I gotta give him a second chance because he did man up and apologize. He realized he was wrong in the decision that he made in wanting to get out and thinking he wanted something, and he didn't really understand what came along with what he wanted and being the guy on the team. And it just it got crazy in Boston to the point where he wanted to apologize to LeBron. And I wouldn't mind Kyrie because at the end of the day, those two won a championship together. Kyrie hit one of the biggest shots in NBA Finals history over Steph to come back, from down 3-1. So you know what? If they go on a run again in LA and they win a couple of championships, I'm cool with that.
So do you have? Oh, go ahead.
No. I was going to say the same thing. I think we know Boston's out the mix.
Oh yeah.
Nets look like they're out the mix. So Clippers aren't going to really make any decision until they know what Kawhi is doing. So I think it is either the Lakers or the Knicks, and I do think it's the Lakers because that's the easiest situation for Kyrie to jump into. Yeah. He doesn't have to worry about recruiting anyone there with him. They already got their big two guys. He can kind of fit in. Also, because of LeBron's age, he knows he'll still have a lot of the same responsibilities he had in Cleveland, where when LeBron goes to the bench, it's your show for the next 6 to 8 minutes while LeBron rests up. So I think that's the move. we all, you know what I'm saying, we had this discussion
Yeah.
very recently
very
about
recently.
what the Lakers should do. I wouldn't go that route, but I understand it for them. They want a big three, and he makes the most sense, I think, at this point.
Me, I have a little problem, if I'm being honest, with him going to LA, and this is why. When you know, he was on Cleveland and he asked to be traded, right? It shocked everybody almost. You know, he didn't want to be second fiddle playing behind LeBron James. He didn't want to be little brother.
Right.
So you leave and then you go to Boston. Obviously things didn't work out. And you know, but to me, going back to LA is kind of saying to me almost that LeBron James, I needed you, my brother. I needed you this whole time. That's what it feels like to me.
Well,
him going back over there.
He kind of didn't.
Yeah, it's like I needed you.
But, I mean,
so
here's the thing. I mean, we're talking about the greatest basketball player since Michael Jordan.
Right.
So, I mean, if anybody, if you're gonna need anybody, you know, let it be LeBron James. Yeah, you know, that's not a bad thing to say you needed somebody else. Everybody needs somebody. There's nobody winning the championship by themselves. LeBron ain't win by himself in Miami. He didn't win by himself in Cleveland. Because at the end of the day, if Kyrie doesn't make that three, we're not sitting up here talking about Cleveland as world champion. So everybody needs somebody, you know. And just the fact that he manned up. He took his whoopings. He manned up. He apologized to LeBron. You know, so I'll let him rock.
I just feel like, you know, at the end of the day, when you make a stance, right, and you say, I want out, I don't need you, to me, it's almost like you should stick by that. All right, yeah, it didn't work out in Boston, but if you go somewhere else, try to see if you can be that man. We all know Kyrie Irving is not a number one. He's not a Batman. He's a Robin at the end of the day.
Well, now he knows it.
But still,
He's better suited to be a Robin, yes.
Yeah, so I think that he should have just stood by it. It's like you making, I mean, I'm going to compare what he did to a stance like a Colin Kaepernick because it's two totally different things. But I'm saying, when you make a stance, when you say something, I think you should just stick by it.
That you're right, but at the same token, when you mess up, you humble yourself. You admit, you know what I'm saying, the error.
And he did that. He did that.
Then you gotta give a man, woman a second chance.
I don't view it quite the same way. I don't think he left LeBron like, I don't need you. I think he was becoming frustrated with just all the uncertainty around that situation. LeBron kept doing the 1-and-1 deals and like kind of making them, forcing their hand basically to do what I want you to do. And I think Kyrie was kind of looking at it like, yo, if this guy leaves after next year, because remember, Kyrie left the year before LeBron left.
Yeah.
Kyrie looked around the locker room and was like, yo, if you leave, you telling me I'm going to get stuck with JR, Amon Shumpert, a banged up Kevin Love, like this is the team I'm going to get left with?
And Tristan Thompson.
Like, I don't want this. I didn't sign up for this. This is not what I want. And I think that's where his frustration came in. I don't think it was necessarily LeBron himself. I think it was just the fact that LeBron has so much control over that organization that Kyrie looked at it as, if he leaves, now all y'all going to do is throw all this on me now, and I'm going to be expected to win with these guys that really we shouldn't be winning with in the first place. It's really, like that year when they came back from 3-1, it took a superhuman effort from LeBron and Kyrie. They both was dropping 40 a night just to get them to Game 7 to be able to win that. So Kyrie's looking around the locker room like, I don't want this. I'm young. I want a team that I can develop with.
I think also when you playing with LeBron James, you gotta, like, I know you realize this, that LeBron James, he brings all the media and it's all LeBron.
Right.
LeBron. It's nobody else. It's LeBron James, and I feel like that bothered Kyrie, knowing that he was a little brother.
I don't know if it bothered him as much as just the uncertainty of the team.
I think that had to do with it too. I think it was a bunch. It was a uncertainty with the future, with LeBron James free agency coming up, and knowing he do the 1-and-1 deals. And also him being little brother, him being second fiddle. I think that those two things combined is what made Kyrie say, listen, I want to trade, and I want to get the hell up out of here.
It's possible. I mean, we weren't there to know exactly what he felt. The reason I think that he had the uncertainty is because of the timing of it. Going into that year, the speculation already was, what are they going to do to keep LeBron? Remember, that summer when Kyrie gets traded, they flirted with the idea of trading for Carmelo Anthony. They came close to trading for Paul George. There was a lot of uncertainty within the organization because they already knew this is probably LeBron's last year here. And that's why, to me, I think Kyrie looked at the timing of it and said, I don't want to be here for this. You're not going to stick this on me. Because if he leaves and I got to run the show with J.R. Smith and Amon Shumpert and Tristan Thompson, like, nah, I'm good. Get me out of here now. And I think that him going back to LeBron isn't really him like saying, all right, now my tail between my leg and I got to come back to you. I think it's him also looking at it from the standpoint of LeBron ain't got very many prime years left.
Yeah.
Right? So if you go to LA now, cool, it's LeBron's show right now. But you and AD now become the running mates after year 2, after year 3. LeBron's only got 3 years left on this current deal. He's probably going to play at an elite level for the next 2 years. After that, we're going to see a decline in his play.
Yeah.
And so Kyrie may view it that way. Kyrie and Anthony Davis are close friends. He was trying to recruit Anthony Davis to Boston. So he may look at it like, you know what, we'll go to LA together then. And we'll make it work there. And if we can win some chips now while LeBron is still very good, great. But if we don't win, we're still in a great situation where you and I now could run the league for the next 5, 6 years.
Because they're both young enough to
Right. They're both young.
When I was in elementary school, right, I was around 5th grade.
Talk about it.
All right, and I wanted out. Okay, I said to my mama, listen, if you don't take me out and put me into another school, I'm not going to school. I would skip school every day, right? I made my mom, I forced my mother to make the trade. I left schools. When I got to the school, TWS, Trade Whitfield, I'm sorry I got to call you out, but I got to make this point, right? When I got there, I said to myself, oh, hell no. I made the wrong decision.
I made a mistake.
I messed up, all right? And I called my friends, and I told them, listen, I messed up. I want to come back. But at the same time, I said, you know what? How foolish would it be for me to come back next year when I was saying, everybody, I'm out of here. I ain't coming back. And I was trying to get dudes to come with me at that. How foolish would it look for me to come back and sit in this chair and be like, listen, I was wrong and I'm back again with all the heads looking at me?
Well, two things I'm gonna say to that story. One, you were very fortunate because my mother would whip my ass had I said.
I mean, I did get a couple beatings in there.
Every day. She was gonna whip my ass every day until I got back.
Well, yeah, I got beatings, but I got what I wanted though. But at the same time.
But you know, in regards to Kyrie, it's like, you know, it's kind of when I was a child, I thought as a child. You know,
right.
When I became a man, I put behind childish things. So yeah, you know, we're entitled to make bad decisions. We human, you know. And then, you know, when you kind of realize that, all right, well, yeah, you know what, maybe I was in a good situation, I wouldn't mind going back into that situation. You just man up. I mean, had he not manned up and spoke to LeBron about it, I don't think we even sitting here having this conversation. But, you know, he did what he was supposed to do. Just like, you know, you manned up. He manned up and said, you know, listen, man, I apologize. I was wrong. You know, and that's something that you'll learn with growth in the league.
Right.
Even, you know, like, and I want to going back to the last year with the whole Anthony Davis trade situation from last year, you know, where these guys are young. Even Kyrie, I mean, we're talking about, you know, Kyrie is 2 years ago when they made it 25, 2 years ago. So they're still young. They're still learning, you know. So you're going to make those mistakes along the way. As long as you learn from them, you know, and you grow, that's it.
I think we also forget, too, a lot of times, this is how they brought up in the game anyway. Like, the days of you playing for your high school team for 4 years are gone. These guys bounce around from AAU to AAU every summer, every weekend. So they're used to just saying, no, I don't want to play here no more. No, I want to go back over there. Yeah. No, so this is no big deal to them. And that's why, like, Kyrie played 10 games at Duke.
Yeah.
He's not no alumni to Duke. Like, you know what I'm saying? He went there on a pit stop.
That's a fact.
And had LeBron not come back to Cleveland, he probably would have left Cleveland earlier because that situation was a mess anyway. Right? How many years were they in the lottery before LeBron came back? They were in the lottery, I think, 5 straight years.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Right.
I'm not even gonna lie.
So, the 4 years. Sorry, the 4 years that he was gone, they were in the lottery.
Wiggins.
Well, Wiggins got traded for Love, but Anthony Bennett, the great Anthony Bennett. We know how that worked out. Dion Waiters.
Where's he at now?
He pumping gas. But listen, he pumping gas. But it was a mess already, right? So had LeBron not come back, who's to say Kyrie would even stood there another 3 years?
Yeah.
He would have been gone anyway, and he would have bounced around the league. And the crazy thing is, when we look at these stars, at some point, even in the near future, 5 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, who has really stayed with their team? Kevin Durant, if he leaves Golden State in the next couple of days, he will be on his third team. Anthony Davis is on his second team. LeBron is on his third team, but this is obviously his third change as well because he went back to Cleveland. So all these guys are so comfortable doing this because this is the way they've been brought up in the game.
And it also goes to Kyrie. Kyrie is one of those dudes that, you know, he seemed like he doesn't know what he wants. There's reports that he went months without talking to teammates on Cleveland and on the Celtics.
Right.
He's just that type of guy that, you know, he says something and then he doesn't mean it. That's why with him, a lot of people talk about the uncertainty with Kawhi Leonard and what he's going to do in free agency and Kevin Durant. But Kyrie is right up there, even though we thought it was going to be the Nets. But we had to have in the back of our mind that, listen, this is Kyrie we dealing with.
Well, because I mean, you had a lot of contributing factors though too, because I mean, the domino effect, the KD injury, that changes a lot in free agency.
It did.
And then the Lakers clearing up that cap space to be able to add another max slot, that changed things a lot. So I mean, it's really gonna be a lot of surprises.
I think we're still in for more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Kyrie set himself up a little bit too, though, because Kyrie, his people were letting it leak, about, like you said, him not talking to Boston. It's Brooklyn for me. I want to go there. A couple months ago, it was the Knicks. That's where I want to go. So he's kind of set himself up where he doesn't have many options, because if the rumors are true that Kemba's going to Boston, that's out of the way for him now. Yeah. Brooklyn now made the offer to D'Angelo, so he can't go back there.
Smart move, Brooklyn.
Right?
Smart
he
move.
Can't go back there. So again, now the walls is kind of closing in on him now. He's got to make a decision quick before he finds himself having to entertain an offer for Minnesota, because they might be the only team left.
So we all have Kyrie going to the Lakers, right?
That's my
prediction.
Yeah.
I have to agree with y'all. I think he's going back to LeBron James, even though the brother said, I want it out. He's going back.
Listen, sometimes the person that know you best is your ex. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't going back to none of my exes, that's for sure. They get the hell out of here with that. But anyway, moving on to Klay Thompson here. To me, there's no discussion. The Warriors, to me, is, I think the report came out that they are offering him the max contract. I believe once he get that max contract, he will stay his behind in Golden State, because I believe that he never wanted to leave. He loves being there. He won championships over there. No doubt he's staying in Golden State.
He does, but there's some stipulations to his contract that could, have him make a different decision in free agency. So, Golden State better watch out, because they're in real jeopardy of this past season being the end of it. Because I think Kevin Durant is gone, and if you mess around with Klay and you don't give him what he wants, he could leave too.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think Klay is going to stay. He's a guy that seems content to be there, and understandably so. They've had a lot of success. He's a guy that just wants to play. He doesn't want to get caught up in all the other stuff going on outside the court. But there is an interesting stipulation that's going on now, because he recently, his agent, I should say, recently came out and said they're willing to sit down with the Clippers. And the reason that is because he's going to ask the Warriors to either give him a no-trade clause or allow him to opt out of his contract early.
Yeah.
And they didn't even grant that to Steph. So not to say they wouldn't give it to Klay, but I think he's kind of putting the pressure on him to say, look, either you're going to give me what I want out this situation, because he's getting robbed by not being able to get the Supermax. I think we all agree he should get the Supermax.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Golden State, they
caught a break.
They smiled in the back room.
Right. They caught a break. So he knows they caught a break. So he's not letting him off the hook completely, though. He's basically saying, all right, I'm going to stay, but give me my no-trade clause, because I'm not going to allow y'all to dump my contract 2 years from now when things are going bad here. You know what I'm saying? Right, absolutely.
And he deserves it. I mean, he took himself out for a year trying to come back to help them win another championship. So if anybody deserves it, it's definitely Klay
what he
Thompson.
brings defensively as well. Something, he's like top 5.
Yeah, he's top two-way player.
Two-way player. Right up there.
He is the biggest reason they've had the success they have, because he sacrifices a lot offensively to be able to guard the best perimeter guy on the other team.
Especially with KD being there.
Because Klay could easily average 26, 27.
Oh, yeah. He scored how many points in the first quarter?
Easily.
It was one quarter he scored like 30,
he did
almost 30 points.
52 or something like that in the half of the quarter.
The only reason that series ended in Game 6 was because Klay got hurt. Because Klay was cooking.
Yeah, he was.
And Klay was about to force Game 7.
Yeah, he was. Mm-hmm. So we got Kemba Walker now on the list. Obviously, Charlotte is in no condition to make the playoffs.
Right.
Kemba is a great point guard who is a team player, unlike the person he's going to replace in Kyrie Irving. Well, sort of, maybe. I'm about to get in my prediction. I didn't want to blow it, but I just blew it. So it is what it is. And he single-handedly almost brought this rack Charlotte team to the playoffs. Yeah. He's supposed to be eligible for a 5-year, $220 million contract that the Hornets are not going to give him, it looks like.
No.
So, most other teams, they can afford around $140 million over 4 years, like around 4 or 5 years. I believe Kemba should want winning more than anything. And he got potential suitors for LA, the Knicks, Dallas. But I think he ends up in Boston, replacing Kyrie Irving And I believe that, in order for Boston to make this move, they got to, let go Scary Terry, no Katy Perry. He got to go, as well as Horford and Morris. So I believe I believe they can make this move, and I believe Kemba Walker will be on the Boston Celtics come Sunday.
I don't even think there was ever going to be a moment where there was even a possibility that Charlotte was going to give Kemba a super max deal.
Yeah.
They ain't even trying to give him a regular max deal. So, he's definitely out of there. And good for him. He definitely deserves it. I want to see Kemba on the winner. He's from New York. I always want to see New York win. I don't necessarily want to see him go to Boston because that's just the New York-Boston rivalry. But I'm happy for him because I think that he'll be a great addition to that team. I think he'll bring the element that they thought they were going to get from Kyrie. They'll get that with Kemba Walker. And I think that, Boston, I don't think Boston is done yet. So I think, and they're already a top 4 team. So I think that Kemba actually pushes them to maybe, being in that top 2 and getting back into the conference finals.
First off, Trips wildin'. They not going to be the number 2 team in the East. Like they will be a good team, but we got to remember if the other rumors, and I'm sure we're going to get to them, right? But Milwaukee's still going to be very good, even though they're going to lose some guys. Philly's still going to be very good. We got to see what Toronto does. We got to remember that Oladipo's going to come back with Indiana. They're going to be very good. So I do like Kemba to Boston, though. I like the move. I agree from the standpoint of I think he will give them a little bit of what they were missing from Kyrie. Kyrie was trying to be too much of a vocal leader and, like, listen to me now and follow me, whereas Kemba's going to be like, let's just go play ball, and we'll figure it out as we play ball. But I think Boston still got to make another move somewhere because, again, you mentioned 4 guys they're losing, 4 key guys, rotational guys. Horford's gone. Baines is gone. Morris is gone. Rozier's gone. And obviously Kyrie. The only guy they're really replacing is Kyrie. So they still got to make another move. I like the move Kemba going there to play with Tatum and Brown. But in order for them to get in that discussion to be in the top 3 team in the East, they got to at least make one more move.
Yeah, I agree with that. Get a center.
They're working on it right now.
They could get a center in there as well. They got a lot of centers out there that they can possibly get on the market, such as Brook Lopez, Robin Lopez, JaVale McGee, Enes Kanter, who I believe that the Portland Trailblazers cannot pay 2 guys. Obviously, you got Nurkic. Even though Enes Kanter, he showed that he still got a lot. He balled down in the playoffs.
You got to go Nurkic.
The brother was fasting. The brother had one arm. Right. I mean, it was crazy. So I believe they can make that move, and I believe that they will get a center. And I believe that if they get the pieces that they need to get, they're going to be in the top 5 in the East.
They could be in the top half. I agree with that.
Half, most definitely.
I think Brown and Tatum will be better with Kemba as opposed to having Kyrie. Yeah. I still like Marcus Smart. They got some pieces. Right. They got some pieces, but they're going to have to find a way to get some sort of toughness on the inside because we've talked about how good Horford was for them, but Morris played quality minutes for them. Aaron Baines coming off the bench was a solid big man off the bench. And when you have guys like that, the part of it that never shows up in the stat sheet is those guys don't need the ball to affect the game. They just want to rebound and defend and help you get going.
Especially Marcus Smart, who's like a Draymond Green for the Boston Celtics.
Right.
So we got Jimmy Butler now. Let's get to Jimmy Buckets. So I don't believe he's a max player. All right? Negative. I don't believe it. However, I believe that the 76ers, knowing how well he performed for them last year, in this past postseason at that, the fact that he showed these young guys how to win, I believe that they may be tempted to give him the max. However, we see the Rockets trying to make noise and try to, trade up Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, and possibly get a third team involved. And I believe if I'm the 76ers, I'm going like this. I'm rubbing my chin. I'm like, you know what? I'm interested. You give me Eric Gordon, a guy that can shoot, a guy that can make threes, a guy that can, play defense. You give me PJ Tucker. And you give me a point guard in a third team trade, a little point guard to go behind Ben Simmons. Yeah. I'll make that move, and I'll send him to the Rockets. But while I do believe he's going to go, I believe that he wants money. He wants money. That's what he wanted when he was on the Timberwolves. And I believe that 76ers might get desperate and give him that money. But I can see it going either way because I would want the 76ers to make that move with the Rockets as well.
I agree.
If he's smart, he'll stay in Philly. and try to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and hopefully get over the hump and go to the finals, because it's just going to be a disaster if he goes to the Rockets. And you already know Jimmy Butler's a head case. He don't have no problem speaking out. He don't got no problem getting physical with you. And I can see many locker room brawls with him and James Harden after games. I think he should stay in Philly. Especially if Kawhi winds up leaving Toronto, you're in prime space right there to make a championship run, because we're talking about maybe, if Kawhi doesn't make that shot, Philly may be NBA champions right now. I think that team is good enough to beat Golden State without Kevin Durant, and then Clay goes out as well. So I think that Jimmy Butler needs to really sit back and think, do you want to win a championship, or at least have a good shot? I don't see it happening in Houston. James Harden just has too much control over everything that goes down on the court. And when you got Chris Paul arguing with you on the sidelines because of what you're doing out there, what you think Jimmy Butler going to do?
Exactly. He's not going to stay in the corner.
Jimmy Butler's swinging on somebody.
He's not going to be watching James Harden dribble the clock out. On top of that, he's known to stand up against head coaches, right? He did it in the past. What makes you think in a guy that's criticized as much as D'Antoni for his system that the brother's going to sit there and hold hands with this brother and sing Kumbaya? It's not happening. It's going to be World War III.
Not at all. And that's a great point you made, because Tom Thibodeau is a no-nonsense coach, and him and Jimmy clash. Brent Brown is a no-nonsense coach, and they clash. Yeah. So what you think is going to happen with D'Antoni, who allows Harden to do whatever he wants? Also, I think if you Butler, you got to be realistic. You can, one, get more money by staying in Philly, right? Now, you could do the sign and trade and get all your money going to Houston, right? But Philly got the young pieces in place. And as an older player, I would prefer to stay with the younger guys who can carry me further. Yeah, and I don't have to do as much heavy lifting. You know what I'm saying? Going to Houston, to me, if you're Jimmy Butler, makes no sense. You're going to stand around, you're going to watch Harden do his thing. Chris Paul got 3 more years on his contract that nobody else in the league is willing to pick up at this point. So this is your nucleus. You, Paul, and Harden. Yeah. Basically battling all the tough teams in the West for the next 3 years, hoping that you can beat somebody.
Because you got to trade away your defensive anchor.
Right. Because you're gonna have to trade Capella. You're gonna have to trade Capella and Tucker, who are 2 of your better defensive players, and then Eric Gordon, who gives you depth and gives you scoring off the bench. Yeah. So you're gonna basically go into it with those 3 guys, and then your next best player on the team is probably gonna be Austin Rivers. And that's gonna be your nucleus, right?
And you gotta hope and pray that Chris Paul can make it through. Again, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years.
A lot of ifs and woulda, coulda, shouldas, and I hope
think he
this
needs
guy,
to stay on the 76ers.
If he's smart. Yeah. But I agree with you too. If you're Philly, I'm definitely answering that call. What are you offering? What you willing to give me? Because
for Philly, it would make a little bit of sense, because they can get depth without without the issues of Jimmy Butler
and Ben Simmons, a guy who still has not have a jump shot, and we about to be in 2020. The brother got to develop that soon.
He got to at least try to shoot one.
Right. Exactly.
Again, he got to take one. At least take a mid range every game.
Just shoot it. I don't even care what it look like. Just shoot it.
Just try. You know what I'm saying? Just
try.
He
got that Sean Marion. Behind
just shoot it.
I mean, as soon as he get the ball, he passes it like a hot potato. Yeah. So he got to.
If he ain't dunking or laying the ball up, he's passing it. He's not trying to shoot that shot.
And it makes his offense become a little bit more predictable as well. So
I think the Ronnie Brewer treatment.
Exactly. I think Jimmy Butler stays. I think that the 76ers will give him the contract, the max. What do you think?
I think he stays. But I will tell you this, and maybe the news gets broken here first. There is a rumor coming out of Boston that come Sunday, when free agency starts, that the Celtics are going to announce some sort of trade where they acquire Clint Capella. And the only way I see them acquiring that is if it's in a 3-team deal. Because I don't see Boston giving up Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart to be able to get Clint Capella. No. They're gonna try to facilitate it through another team. And I could see, if the rumor is true that Clint Capella is gonna end up in Boston, then that means Gordon, PJ Tucker will end up in Philly, and Butler ends up down in Houston.
This is 50-50 to me.
It is 50-50. I think the smarter play would be to stay, but if that rumor is true, we may be hearing news right away this weekend.
Yeah, and if you're Jimmy Butler and you don't want to stay in Philly, I mean, Houston is just not the right choice. If I'm Jimmy Butler, I might try to go to Brooklyn or something. Actually, and run with D'Angelo Russell.
Why don't you try to go to the Lakers before Kyrie get there?
Yeah, or the Lakers. Like, you got other options if you Jimmy Butler. Like that. That's not the option. The route you should go. If you're trying to win a championship, if you're just trying to get a check and I'm at home because I'm in Houston. All right, but
I think the Clippers are a better fit. They got young pieces. They were just in the playoffs. They got a quality head coach, a quality front office. I would rather run with the Clippers and their young guys, knowing that it's better than going to Houston. I don't understand why anybody would want to play with Harden at this point.
Houston is in the same position Golden State.
I like the Lakers.
They're just not as good because they're stuck too.
I like the Lakers a little bit more for Jimmy Butler.
Right.
Because he doesn't do well with young guys. We've seen that in the past. So he go with a veteran in LeBron James along with AD. I think that'd be good. So let's go on to Tobias Harris. You got to hit those second-tier guys like we're doing right now. He won't be getting the max to me like his friend. I believe that if the 76ers offer both of them the max, it's going to get very expensive in years to come.
That's a lot of luxury tax.
That's a lot. A lot.
And honestly, I don't even think Tobias Harris is worth the max.
Me either.
I
don't think so either.
I'm always about the brothers getting that paycheck. But if I'm being honest, Tobias Harris is not worth the me throwing max money at him.
He grew up in Long Island.
Right.
He has.
I guess you know what? He ain't from the city. He ain't from Brooklyn, so I guess I can say that. Yeah,
he grew up in Long Island. He has ties to Coach Atkinson in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And depending on what with KD and all that happens, he could very well end up on the Nets. So, however, I don't know. Oh no, definitely don't do that.
I could see the Nets giving him the most money. Especially if they miss out on everybody else and the only thing they bring back is D'Angelo, because you still got to upgrade the roster somehow.
Yeah.
Tobias would still be an upgrade. But I would like to see, just from a personal standpoint, I would like to see Tobias go to Utah. I think with Conley, with Mitchell, with Gobert, with what they kind of developing over there, I think he would be a great fit there because there wouldn't be much expectation. You're playing in a small market. Two, you would go over there really to be like the second or third option.
Yeah.
It's Donovan Mitchell's team. So you wouldn't go there expected to drop 25 a night. They would be content with you dropping 16 to 18 a night. You can get your money. It's a tough city because we know a lot of what's going on in Utah. We saw how Russell Westbrook got into it with a fan recently over there.
Yeah.
But just from a fit standpoint and like the success you can have, I think Utah's really good on the low. They've been a playoff team for the last few years. They're a really good defensive team. You already got Donovan Mitchell. You got Conley. You add a guy like Tobias who can shoot, who's going to get his opportunities to really create his own shot there as well. They could be a scary team if they could add Tobias.
So where do y'all think Tobias Harris will go?
I think it's going to be Brooklyn.
Yeah, just because of how things are shaping up now. With them, sending the offer to D'Angelo Russell, again, which obviously you're not going to have Kyrie and D'Angelo Russell there. And then him being from New York and like you said having the ties to the coaching staff and whatnot, I would have to say that I would hope that they don't throw max money at him, or if they do, it's a short 2-year, maybe with an option for a third year, something like that. Like I don't want to be tied down to Tobias Harris. I'm sorry, he's not that good.
I agree with you. I think now with the news that we just found out today with D'Lo in the Nets, I believe that Tobias Harris is going to the Nets.
So, I think it makes more sense.
It works out, but
it'll be crazy though, because he could go back to the Clippers.
Yeah.
Like if the Clippers strike out on Kawhi,
I was about to say that too.
Right, they strike out on Kawhi and they sitting there with the money. I mean, that's a win-win for them because. Yeah. It's almost like with the just to cross analogize, different sports, but like when the Yankees that year traded Chapman, and they got all them young players, and they were still able to bring them back. If you're the Clippers, like we just fleeced Philly, we got the kid Shamet, we got future picks, and now we could bring them back into the mix of a playoff team already.
Because they like Tobias Harris,
right? They like them,
but sometimes business is business. You gotta move on sometimes.
Al Horford is the next guy that I got right here on the on the list. I have no idea where this brother is going, to be honest with you. I heard through the grapevine that the Dallas Mavericks was going to be looking at him, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers are interested. I'm going to guess here, and I'm going to say it's going to be between two teams in LA. It's going to be the Lakers or it's going to be the Clippers.
I don't think it's going to be the Lakers because of the amount of money that he's going to command from them, and that's not a position that's needed right now. They need a guard. So I don't think if it is an LA team, it won't be the Lakers.
I would lean more towards the Clippers.
Possibly the Clippers.
I would lean more towards the Clippers.
And again, that's just I think it's kind of contingent on how the dominoes fall in free agency. You know, because if Kawhi stays in Toronto or if he goes someplace else other than the Clippers, then you start to look at the Tobias Harris's, the Al Horfords. But honestly, you know, I like Dallas. I like Dallas. I like Dallas picking them up. And I think that he would be great for Dallas. They could have that veteran leader that they will be losing, you know, with Dirk. I think he brings that. He's a great two-way player. And, you know, like Eric mentioned earlier, he doesn't need the ball to be effective. Great defensive player. He can post up.
And he actually can shoot the three ball.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, I think from just a pure free agency standpoint, the Lakers, not that they don't make sense, I just think the Lakers have a bigger need at guard. They've got to fill out their backcourt more. The Clippers could make sense, but they've got some scrappy guys. Like Montrezl Harrell kind of fits that role for them. Even though he doesn't shoot the ball as well as Horford, he fits that role of like that defensive big man who is just there for pick and rolls and rim runs and things like that. I will say this though, and I mentioned it to Trip on the way here. If I'm Oklahoma City,
I thought about that.
They don't have the outright cap space, but I would ask, would Boston be willing to do a sign and trade? Because if Boston still needs a big man, and let's say the Capella trade doesn't work out, we'll toss you Steven Adams for Al Horford. You know what I'm saying? And I think that big three in Oklahoma City could be dangerous with Horford, with George, and Westbrook. And on the flip side, if you're Boston, you get your defensive big man in Steven Adams.
A guy that could get rebounds.
Right.
He's a beast in the paint.
Right. It's just a beast in the paint, defensive presence, and Steven Adams only has 2 years left on his deal. So it's not like you're taking on a bunch of money back. You're only taking on a guy who has 2 years left on his deal, who's still very productive.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But from a purely free agency standpoint, I think Dallas makes the most sense.
He could run in Boston. You know, of course you miss the scoring that Al Horford brings, but they don't necessarily need Steven Adams to do that because they got so many other scorers on the team. Especially if you're talking about bringing over Kemba. Gordon Hayward, now he's at that point where he's got the year under his belt.
From the
we can hopefully see him get back to All-Star form. Tatum, now that, you know, I think, you know, Kyrie is there and he'll be able to really start to come out of his shell even more. Same thing with Jaylen Brown and those guys. So it could work with Steven Adams.
So where do you think he goes? I say he goes to the Clippers. I'm compelled with Dallas as well. I like Dallas. And I think the Thunder could work too, but I'm going to go with the Clippers.
I'm going to say Dallas first. But again, you know, once cats start getting snatched up, teams get a little antsy and they just start throwing money away. Yeah. So
like it's a daggone Mayweather at the strip club, just throwing money all over the place.
I think it is. I think it will be Dallas because I think Dallas is a situation where they can't come away empty-handed. But there are a couple other places. The Clippers, a perfect example. The Nets may want to pair him with Allen in their front court. You know what I'm saying?
Possibility
so he has options, but I do think Dallas makes the most sense because they already have their two pieces for the future with Porzingis and Luka.
Yeah.
You brought up the Nets. D-Lo, obviously, with the news that broke today, I think he's a Net now.
Right.
I think he resigns there.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. I think that this brother got potential, and I would like to see, you know, where he goes from here.
I like it a lot. He should stay in Brooklyn.
Yeah, and I think if he stays in Brooklyn, I think he'll be back in the All-Star game next season. I think because he's only going to get better. I mean, he's maturing really fast since he's been in Brooklyn. You know, so I love it. And he's 23 years old.
Yep.
Now we got to get to these big guys. Now these big notable names that we got here, and we still got 2 more guys left, and these are the big 2 guys that everybody. To me, this is the balance of power. Obviously, with Kevin Durant being injured next year, I would have to give the torch to Kawhi as far as the balance of power for next year. Yeah. But obviously, Kevin Durant, you know, in the future, if he get back to 100%, well, close to like where he was before, then that will also help a team out and the franchise out later on. Yeah. So let's start off with Kevin Durant. He's obviously the best player on the planet. Suffered a terrible Achilles injury, and I'm upset. As a basketball fan, as a Knicks fan, and a Nets fan at that as well, I'm hurt because the Warriors did not have to play that brother. To me, he should have been out, and they ruined not only, you know, partially his career, but they ruined our free agency. You know what I'm saying? As fans.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? I was looking.
Just selfish.
Yo,
Right.
it's
No,
crazy.
you're right though. You're right.
It's facts.
They did.
I mean, I've been looking at free agency. No
Yeah.
disrespect, the NBA is one of the best leagues ever, and it's trending upwards. But I was looking at the finals. I didn't care about the finals. I already, with the injuries, it shocked me that they had that much injuries and the Raptors won. But I was looking towards free agency. That was me.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of partially ruined because of this injury.
Yeah, and so what happens is, and with you also have to realize with the whole KD situation is you might not be if and I hope he does come back to Kevin Durant. But if he comes back to Kevin Durant, we might not see Kevin Durant for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Because it takes a year to come back from that injury, and then it'll take another year for you to work yourself back into game shape. So we saw with Paul George after he messed up his leg. He didn't come back cooking that first year.
He didn't.
It took this past season he had an MVP season.
Yeah.
But it takes 2 years. So now you're talking about you're giving somebody a 4-year deal, but you're not really going to get the best Kevin Durant most likely.
Until year
maybe
3.
I mean if they make the playoffs, maybe towards the end of that second year you might see him getting there, but it's probably going to be year 3. So you got 2 years with top 3 player Kevin Durant on your team.
And honestly, as you talking right now, and the Knicks just float around my brain, right? I just feel like crying. I had to hold back tears literally a few seconds ago because I don't want to cry on my show. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we do.
This ain't that type of show.
It's not a soap opera. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it feels like a soap opera when it comes to the Knicks. I mean, it's just it's heartbreaking because I felt throughout this whole year that Kevin Durant to the Knicks was a done deal. I said it on in the huddle.
People did. It was the word was around the league. Everything.
If y'all seen the last episode, the season finale of my radio show in college, In the Huddle, and I made the prediction of KD coming to the Knicks, I said it with passion, all right? And I almost cried on the air. I said, Kevin Durant is coming to New York. He's coming, all right?
Kevin Durant will be in a Knicks uniform
Yes, sir.
playing in MSG with Spike Lee in the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't do it no more, man. It's about time it's about time
This
the
man
Knicks
over here
do
is
something.
going crazy.
It's been so long.
We
Ladies.
gotta see him in
I'm
the
about
orange
to have a
and
breakdown right now. It's been so long, all right? I've been a Knicks fan, all right? This is the first team I started watching. And it's just I can't watch them no more. Who want to see these bums? Who want to see these bums on the court? Not me. Not me at all. I'm tired of it, all right? It's the daggone Knicks. It's the Mecca, okay? You know how whack this team is? When you got school trips going to the games.
Season finale.
I mean, you got school trips going
It's
to
the
the
season
games.
finale.
I'm tired of it, man. They selling free tickets on the street. I mean, for these bums.
And now it's just with this injury, I'm just hurting because the speculation is going away. It's not Knicks anymore. It's just floating away.
I mean, we see that all the time around this part of free agency because everyone wants to give a hot take. Everyone wants to know what's going on. I think the one thing we are robbed of, as Tripp said, we probably won't see the best version of KD for another 2 years. But I would hate if KD goes back to Golden State just because he has to rehab. That's what we've really been robbed of. Because now he can't really make a decision based off of, I'm completely healthy, I can go wherever I want to go. Now he's got to factor in, where do I want to rehab now?
Yeah.
What doctors do I want to trust? You know what I'm saying? Do I want to do it here in Golden State? Do I want to do it somewhere else?
I wouldn't trust those doctors. They got it wrong.
I agree.
That's
but at the same time,
Especially not after
but the
Iguodala
scary,
comes out
remember the
and
scary
says
part becomes
they
the-
misdiagnosed him.
The scary
That's
part
like
becomes
me, getting misdiagnosed with cancer.
Right.
I'm going back to the doctor that
Yeah.
said I didn't have it and I had it. You know what I'm saying? I'm
But
not going back there.
Here's the scarier part, though, right? People forget Grant Hill was in the same situation. Grant Hill had broke his foot in Detroit. He left Detroit to go to Orlando as a free agent, and he never recovered in Orlando because they kept messing it up there too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In his mind, he's thinking, I'm making the right choice. I got to get out of Detroit because he had rushed back from that injury to play for the Pistons in the playoffs. He breaks his foot again. So now he thinks, you guys misdiagnosed me. I can't trust you. Let me get out of here. He goes to Orlando. T-Mac is down in Orlando. They supposed to be the next dynamic duo. Never pans out because he can't stay healthy. Same situation. So if you're Kevin Durant, you have all these different opinions now and all these different people in your ear. Trust this person. No, don't trust that person. Trust this person. So we may see a Kevin Durant who might sign back with Golden State purely out of fear, purely out of this is where I've been the last couple of years, so I'm just going to trust it here and hope that everything goes right.
I would throw this at you. You know what I'm saying? I'm the quarterback. I'm Tom Brady. I'm about to throw you a pass real quick. You Randy Moss and you Larry Fitzgerald in his prime.
I'm Randy Moss. I got my arm up like this.
All right, man. I'm throwing you
Right
this
here,
play
right
here,
here.
right? And I'm saying to myself, Kevin Durant, you said something about fear. He's going to make this decision out of fear.
I think there's a
throw you the
possibility,
ball.
yes.
Wasn't his career always based off fear when you think about it?
Absolutely.
Going to the 73-win team? This brother's career. Insecurity and fear.
Yeah.
And I believe that if he allows this same cloud of fear and insecurity make his decision again, it's not going to pen well for Kevin Durant going forward at all.
Yeah.
I agree with that to a large extent. I think he's got to make the decision based off of what he's most comfortable with. Not fear, not what anybody's going to think, what he's most comfortable with, because we don't expect him to be back on the court till he's 32 years old, right? And most players at that age, you're dealing with on limited time at that point, right? Even LeBron now, LeBron's 34, but I think we all expect that within the next year or two, we're going to start to see a decline in his game as well. Yeah. Most guys don't get into their late 30s and dominate the game. I mean, again, aside from Tom Brady, there ain't many guys who have gotten past 35 and dominated the game. Yeah. Right?
Tom Brady's just a whole different.
Right. Tom Brady's.
Brett Favre was okay.
He was okay,
but he wasn't the gunslinger.
Tom Brady is still in MVP conversations at 41 years old. Yeah. So those are two different conversations right there. I think he's got to make the decision based off what he's most comfortable with, where he wants to be, where he feels would be the best fit for the remainder of his career. And I think that's in blue and orange as a New York Knick.
Well, I mean, if he's thinking about his medical, then actually he probably should come to Brooklyn, because it was actually one of the Nets doctors that actually performed the surgery. So
yeah, it was the Nets doctor, but that ain't the Nets staff. There's a difference. It's a difference.
And the Nets got a good medical team.
You got to be able to trust your doctor. Yeah.
Listen. First, come on, Trip.
You over here talking about he got a shoulder strain and really, his Achilles is popped out. You can't have that.
I mean, that's just medical malpractice at that point. Malpractice at that point. That's malpractice at that point. If you say it's your shoulder and it's the Achilles,
Jacoby and Myers,
right? But I think it's the Knicks for KD. I think the rumors have been true all along. I
hope so, brother. I sit here.
I think the rumors have been true all along. I think the injuries. So. I think the news of D'Angelo Russell today further really pushes that narrative at this point, because again, if the Nets thought they had a true chance to bring him in, they would not be extending a qualifying offer to Russell. And the fact that they're doing that is almost them saying, we know we're not in the game anymore. So let's grab our guy back
Which
now.
Is smart.
Right.
Which is smart.
Unless KD said, I don't want to play with Kyrie, I want to play with D'Angelo Russell. In which case...
he never said that.
I'm a dude that, I'm genuinely happy for people. When people achieve success and I'm sitting there in the bleachers, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But I'm genuinely jealous of the Los Angeles Lakers because, we have the Knicks and Los Angeles Lakers, the two biggest markets in the league. And it seems like the Lakers is getting their opportunity to fix the dysfunction. And it's not too long ago that they won a championship now either. The Knicks that have been in disarray for longer, it's like, damn, can we get somebody to come to the Mecca, please?
That's the thing. I mean, we're talking about, 46 years I think it is now. Since the last time
it's in the 40s.
Yeah, with the Lakers, they've been winning. I mean, since Kobe, like the last 2 years of Kobe, and then up until now that they've really been struggling. But as far as over the past like 20, 30 years, the Lakers have been really good, and they get the guys. They get those big name guys. New York, I don't know. It is the mecca of basketball, but they just can't seem to bring in the right big name guy with enough youth left in him. It's always he's at the end of his prime when he comes to the Knicks. I will say this. I think that moving forward, if the Knicks, if they don't get somebody this year and they don't just mess it up, I think they will be in really good shape moving forward, because they finally did a good job. They did a great job drafting last year. Bringing in Mitchell Robinson and Alonzo Trier, who two guys, Mitchell Robinson being a second round pick and Trier not even being a draft pick, and for them to play to the level that they played last season. And then you had in Kevin Knox and Dotson, they had a really good rookie class. And again, when you're on them rookie contracts, you're not, that's basically nothing right there. So I think moving forward, they will be good. If they are able to bring in Kevin Durant, I think the youth of the Knicks and being able to develop over this next season again, and then once KD comes back, I think that they would be in good shape. As far as winning the championship, we kind of got to wait and see, because I'm still not convinced that KD can be that guy to lead a team to the championship.
Damn, my brother, that watch is flinged over here, man. That joint shiny than mother. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was God saying the Knicks is coming back soon. You know what I'm saying? That just, I saw the light just now. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's hope for the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen.
Nah, I think there's a lot of hope, man. I think they've drafted well. They get a lot of slack. And as a lifelong Knicks fan, I say the same thing. They get a lot of slack for the way they've handled things in the past. Yeah. But as Tripp mentioned, the way they handled their draft last year, the way they handled it this year, the fact that they haven't just gone off after the splashy name gives me hope that we're headed in the right direction. If we don't get KD, I'm okay with us just rebuilding and continue to build slow.
Yeah. All right, 1 minute left because we got to wrap up soon. Where do you think KD ends up?
You know what? I'm gonna say the Knicks, but I don't think it's gonna matter, because I don't think he's leading the Knicks to no championship. So
I think he comes to the Knicks. I think he changes the narrative for the franchise. He may never win a championship in New York, but I think he changes the narrative for the Knicks moving forward.
I'm not gonna make a prediction. I'm gonna hope that what y'all saying is actually factual. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just hope. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna hope that he comes to the Knicks. But we got one more guy real quickly. Kawhi Leonard. The second best player on the planet. Obviously, to me, there's no reason he should leave Toronto. Good front office. Him and majority got a good relationship. It's a good fan base. He's literally that country, along with Drake. And I just believe they came off a championship. They're gonna have the same roster. I believe that Canada got #1 in the quality of life. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to Canada? I mean, you know what? I know it's cold. I know the geography. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But I think he stays. I think it's close. He's taking meetings with the Lakers and the Clippers, but I think he stays in Toronto by the skin of by this much. I think he stays.
With Kawhi, he's so unpredictable.
Yeah,
it's really hard to say, because obviously he's not a guy who's worried about the money. We saw
the Spurs.
The car that he drove
could have made a lot of money with the Spurs.
Yeah, so obviously he's not about the money. He's not ring chasing, because he already has 2 championships at this point. So I think it's gonna come down to where he feels most comfortable at.
And what do you think that is?
That's the thing. I think obviously it's gonna be between
Give
Toronto
us an answer,
and
Trey. Give us an answer.
LA. The LeBron fan in me would love to say Kawhi goes to the Lakers. I'm kind of leaning towards that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed in Toronto.
Man, he's staying in Toronto. Gasol's staying, the GM is staying, Kawhi's staying.
And that wraps up this episode of the Real Leel Show, ladies and gentlemen. I was feeling this show. I digged it. You know what I'm saying?
We want to come back now.
Oh yeah,
man. We feel so at home, baby. We want to come back, man.
Most definitely, we'll bring them back very soon, ladies and gentlemen. I was on their show the last 2 weeks as well on Real Fans Will Talk. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Where they can catch your show at?
Let them know, man.
We out all throughout New York City, Verizon 44, BPN 2. We're live every Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. And you can also just check everything out on the website, realfansrealtalk.com. And, if you just want to chop it up, hit us up on Twitter at RealFanTalk. Or Instagram at RealFanTalk as well, or Facebook.com/RealFansRealTalk. And if you get a chance to get on YouTube and want to check the exclusive content, then subscribe to that channel, YouTube.com/ForTheFansProductions.
KD, don't play yourself. Come to New York. That's what I'm gonna say. Come to the Knicks.
We got a number 35 jersey waiting for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy Real Leel, and I am back again. Every day, there are news going on in the world of sports and pop culture, and I get my unique takes on them. Please subscribe to the channel so you can get all the latest updates on these hottest news and see the full episodes of my radio shows, The Real Lil Show, college and podcast version, In the Huddle, and What's Your Grind Like podcast. Daily updates, breaking news on my Instagram page, weekly blogs. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoy the content.